Giving to your local church should be easy, and with Tithely, it is. Just download the app and securely register your credit or debit card. You're done. Now you can give during church services or anywhere else. Use Tithely to give a one-time gift or set up recurring donations. It's that simple. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. Tithely, the simplest way to give to your local church.
How I live for the moments when I'm still in your presence. All the noise dies down. Lord, speak to me now. You have all my attention. I will linger and listen. I can't miss a thing. Lord, I know my heart wants more of you. My heart wants something new, so I surrender all. 'Cause all I want is to live within your love, be undone. My desire is to know you deeper. Lord, I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. Oh, 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 oh. You're the fire in the morning. You're the cool in the evening. The breath of the life in my bones. There is no hesitation in your love and affection. It's the sweetest of all. Lord, I know my heart wants more of Jesus, have your way in me now. I open up my heart to you. I open up my heart to you now. So do what only you can. Jesus, have your way in me now. I open up my heart to you. I open up my heart to you now. So do what only you can. Jesus, have your way in me now. Oh, have your way. Oh, have your way. Oh, have your way in me. Jesus, have your way in me. Oh, have your way in me. Lord, have your way. 'Cause all I want is to live within your love. Be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper. And Lord, I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for the touch of your hand. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Oh. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Together, we are creating a new future for the Valley because of your generosity. Your financial support is being used to produce content and create a loving community that is bringing hope to hurting people during the COVID pandemic and quarantine. Your giving equips New Soul Rebecca with tools to provide access to our services and support for people who can only meet with us by phone. Because you give, the hungry are being fed, and we've launched a winter warmth campaign to protect people in the Valley from the cold this season. With your help, in 2021, we're not slowing down, but ramping up a campaign to expand our digital reach to help and inspire more kids, students, singles, families, and seniors. Your giving is making a difference in the community. 1 Timothy 6:17-19 says, "Don't be full of yourselves and obsessed with money, which is here today and gone tomorrow. Go after God, who piles on all the riches we could ever manage. Do good. Be rich in helping others. Be extravagantly generous. If you do that, you'll build a treasury that will last, gaining life that is truly life." We have quick and easy ways for you to give. Online, newsoulrebecca.com. By text BLESS to 94000. By app, download the Tithely app. Or by mail, New Soul Rebecca, P.O. Box 574, Rebecca, New Mexico 87560. To receive text updates from New Soul Rebecca, text Rebecca to 94000.
I hate wearing a mask. I despise it for so many reasons that I won't share right now. So when I found out that wearing masks was starting to be mandated again, it bothered me. Maybe you are different than I am and love wearing masks. Maybe you like wearing them while working out or having conversations with people you love. It seems like mandates are coming back. The global COVID pandemic doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. We've had about 12 weeks here in New Mexico basically the summer of a return to normal. And it's been amazing. People are back to work. The economy is recovering. Hugs are back. Fist bumps are back. Sports and parties are back. But now we are hearing that the Delta variant of COVID is breaking through among vaccinated people. The hospitalizations of people due to COVID is on the rise. And we're hearing of places around the country requiring vaccines for entry to indoor events. Big box stores and other popular retailers are requiring masks again for everyone in some places. And our governor and other government agencies may limit or put an end to in-person events at some point in the near future if the virus continues to spread. These things can make me feel powerless and like a victim. In response, there is a movement among many churches to take a stand against the government in this moment, to fight for religious freedom, the right to continue meeting without limitation. Many church leaders are pushing to resist any limitations on how we worship and interact with one another. And I understand this sentiment. I do. I get it. I get why churches who are vocal about fighting for their liberty to gather and worship are attractive to people in this moment. The frustration is real. The Apostle Paul, who enters the pages of history as someone who hated the church, he believed that the movement of Jesus was going to ruin his country and his culture. Saul, as he used to be known, saw Jesus and his influence as a threat to his nation. He hated the church and had made it his mission to destroy it. That is critical to understand. And then he had an encounter with Jesus, and Saul became Paul, and he became a follower of Jesus. And because he became a follower of Jesus, every other non-Jewish Jesus follower, so if you're not Jewish and you're a Jesus follower, you were introduced to the good news about Jesus, the gospel that has changed their lives because of Paul. Paul lived 2,000 years ago in a culture that was facing the same tensions that we are facing today. Paul was a Jew, but he had Roman citizenship. That means that he was fully aware of what freedoms and rights come with that legal status. It's a status that some people in his day would fight and kill for. And as a Jew, he knew what it was like for Jews that he loved to be without freedom and legal power. He had a tension. He lived between two worlds. He wrote something unexpected to Jesus' followers in his time, and I think when you hear it and read it, it will be just as unexpected in ours. He writes, "Though I am free and I belong to no one, I have made myself a slave to everyone, to win as many as possible. To the Jews, I became like a Jew, to win the Jews. To the weak, I became weak, to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. I do all this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings." If you read this too quickly or don't pay attention to what he's saying, you might miss it. He says, I am free, but I have made myself a slave to everyone. He has made a radical choice. Today, you, as you watch and listen to this, you're free. It's a gift, not because you're an American or you're born at this time in history. You're not a slave to the opinions of others, unless you choose to be. In our culture, this may be true of you. When we fight for freedom in our lives, we want to break away from our parents and teachers. We want to be free of government control, of regulations and laws we don't like. We leave home and run for freedom from doing what we're told or what we're supposed to do. We want the freedom to find our own way. maybe you can relate to this. You want to be free to do what you want, how you want, when you want, and with whoever you want. Most of the time, our fight to be free is for the freedom to live a life that is less instead of more. It's the freedom to make the worst choice. When does someone saying, "Don't oppress me, I want to be free," mean, "Get off me, I want to live a life of honor," or "Don't hold me back, I want to be more trustworthy," or "Quit trying to stop me from working harder. Stop trying to control me. I want to show more compassion. I'm sick of your rules. I want to be more generous and kind." The freedom to do whatever you want is not freedom. Have you ever noticed that the more you do whatever you want, following your own desires, the less freedom you actually have? You become a slave to your own appetites and the opinion of other people. One of the reasons Jesus came was to set humanity free. When you give your life to Jesus and follow him, he forgives you of all your sins and he gives you a fresh start. You are free of your past. You're free to live a new life. If you have given your life to Jesus and have put your trust in him, this is important, especially if you still struggle with guilt and the fear of punishment. You are free from having to pay Jesus back for saving you. You don't have to keep the 10 Commandments or come to church or pay your tithe as some sort of payment for your salvation. There is nothing that you can do to deserve the gift of God in Jesus. He has given it to you because he is good, not because you are. Because of Jesus, you're not only free to not murder, but you're free to love your enemies. You're not only free not to steal, but you're free to give and be generous. You're not only free not to live an angry life, but you're free to live a life of kindness and patience. You're free from doing whatever your appetites and impulses tell you to do. You're free from the fear of breaking God's rules or doing something that might stop God from accepting you. You are loved, you are accepted, and you are forgiven. But freedom isn't easy. Sometimes you and I, we abdicate our freedom for acceptance by other people. Sometimes we ignore our freedom for comfort. Today, you are free to make the best choice, not just the one the people around you want you to make. The Apostle Paul is saying, "I am free to be more." What would happen if you used your freedom not to be less, but to be more? If your boss expects you to give minimum effort, but instead you violate expectations and give more, not less, you are free to not do what's expected, but to do something different. If you're asking, "Is this something I have to do?" you're not free yet. For example, when it comes to giving, if you say, "Do I have to give 10%?" then you're not free yet. If you're a slave to keeping the rules, you have to give 10%. If you're free, you can give more and you can enjoy giving more. You're free to be generous. There's no limit to the possibility of your generosity. Paul is saying, "I am free to make the choice to lay my power down and my freedom down to be a slave so that others might be free." He's not a victim. He's not powerless. Making a statement like that requires strength of character, strength of resolve. He's saying, "I have an intention to win as many as possible. Even though I am free, I am bound with a purpose to elevate the lives of others." Jesus was all powerful, but he made himself powerless so that he could lift you up. Jesus was free, but allowed others to bind him so he could set you free. Let's apply this to our current situation right now in this moment. My end game as the leader of our faith community is not religious freedom. The goal of New Soul Rebetta is not religious liberty. My end game is to win people to Jesus. The goal of New Soul Rebetta is to win the hearts of unchurched people to Jesus. Our battle is for people, not against people. I love religious freedom, and I'm grateful for it. And I hope with all my heart that it continues. I hope that some of the government actions that seem to be focused on churches are just perceptions and not reality. There is a very real battle going on right now. Spiritual warfare is a reality. As your spiritual coach, your pastor, and the leader of this faith community, I want to make sure that in this moment, we are fighting the right battle. What if we win the fight for religious freedom and lose the minds and hearts of unchurched people who see the church and Christians as people who only care about themselves, who have their own agenda? They only care about practicing their religion, even if it gets people sick, even if it kills them. This may not be true, but perception is reality sometimes. It's important that we are winning the battle that really matters. The Apostle Paul was saying, I'm not trying to win my right to live a certain way or speak in a certain way. I want to win as many people as possible. So as we move into an uncertain future, I don't process decisions for New Soul Rebetta in person or online based on what I want or what I need, based on my opinions or even my politics. I have made and will continue to make decisions for us based on how can we position NSR in such a way that people without Jesus in the valley and online would see the love of Jesus in us and through us. Paul says to the Jew, I become like a Jew. But wait a minute. Paul is a Jew. If Paul is a Jew, how could he be like a Jew? Paul was never Jewish enough for the Jews because he was a Roman citizen. And he wasn't Roman enough for the Romans because of his Jewish ethnicity, culture, and background. It's like he wasn't conservative enough for the extreme conservatives or liberal enough for the extreme liberals, just like Jesus. He was saying, I will be like a Jew, because Paul wasn't limited by a Jewish mindset. He was in Jesus, so he was free. He was saying that when I'm with the Jews, I will find those areas of commonality where we agree, where we can relate to one another. I'm seeking a human connection with them. He's saying, when I am with those under the law, the Jews, I live like I am under the law, obeying certain traditions and religious customs, so that they will listen to me when I talk to them about Jesus and what God has done for them. If they saw me violating what was important to them, I would lose my connection with them. But make no mistake, I know, Paul would say, that I am not made righteous by following their customs or traditions, but only by the death of Jesus. Paul was working for the win. He was willing to suffer losses, to do things he didn't want to do, so he could get the win that mattered. And then he flips it. He says, even though I'm a Roman, I don't have to behave like a Roman and how a Roman is expected to react. I live outside of that space. I'm above that space. My identity isn't found in being a Roman, like it does for so many of these others who want Roman citizenship so badly. My identity is found in being a part of a new kingdom and being loyal to a new king. So Paul becomes adaptable and flexible to each different environment. It's not that he didn't know himself. He knew himself so well that he could adapt to any situation without losing who he was. If Paul were here, he would say, I don't feel obligated to or bound to always behave like a conservative. or a liberal to know who I am. Those labels don't define me. Who I am and what I am is so much better and bigger than that. Has Paul's mindset ever been more important and needed than it is right now? Today, culture is pushing us, pushing you, pushing me to identify ourselves by what we are against. And if we don't self-identify, we choose not to say that we're against something, it'll lop us in on the other side. So let's be clear. Jesus died for people on the far right and the far left. Pro-vaccine people and anti-vaccine people. Socialists and capitalists. Binary and non-binary people. Straight people and gay people. Republicans and Democrats. White supremacists and black supremacists. Atheists, pagans, and agnostics. So we will not get pulled into battles where we win something for ourselves, but lose the battle that matters for people who haven't encountered Jesus yet. New Soul Ribera is here with one single intention: to be proof that God is here for a world that desperately needs him. To be proof that Jesus stepped into history 2,000 years ago and he died for us and rose from the dead. That he is here in this moment, longing for every person to discover the forgiveness he offers through his death on the cross. To know the life that he gives through his resurrection. In this moment, it looks strong to fight for religious freedom and resist the government. Taking a stand, being fixed and immovable, appears mighty and powerful. But Paul said, to the weak, I become weak. You know, the Jews thought Paul was weak because he adapted to the Romans. And the Romans thought Paul was weak because he conformed to the Jews. Paul understood that for many people in his culture and at his time, their limited view of reality, the limited view of God and what it means to be human, was a weakness. He could have argued with them, but he wasn't trying to win the argument. He was trying to win the people. He wasn't trying to win anything for himself. What Paul would tell you if he was here is, there is nothing, no law, no regulation, no military, no mandate, no government that can stop the church, the kingdom of God, from moving forward. If we have to limit or change how we gather in the near future, know that we will never stop. Never, ever, ever stop being the church. We will never stop sharing the good news. We will never stop doing good to those in need. We will never stop trying to create community for people who feel isolated and alone, trying to connect us together. What if we, as the church, didn't work to become politically stronger, but instead we work to become spiritually stronger? What if we were the generation of the church that didn't trust politics for our future, but trusted in the power of the gospel instead? So what if, to be a little conspiratorial for a moment, there actually are people in government or in culture, whether it be journalists or others, who are actively trying to catch churches breaking the law, to highlight them spreading a deadly virus, to show the world that they are against science, to shine the light and make it look like they're encouraging people not to be responsible with their health choices. What if there actually were people in our culture right now who have an agenda, specific agenda, to throw off the influence of Christianity in our nation and our communities, who see the church as an outdated institution, a threat that our society is connected to, but that binds us to a past that we so badly want to be rid of, and whose hold needs to be broken if we are to create a different future? Even, this is important, so hear me, even if this were true, it is not our battle to fight. Even if it were true, it is not our battle to fight. This is very important, so hear me. The people who are against the church are the very people we are for. So don't be surprised when you see documentaries coming out against churches. Know that there are pastors who've been faithful to their wives their entire lives. There are pastors who have had their marriages and lives restored and transformed by the grace of God. There are churches full of people who sacrifice for the good of others in their communities every day and have been for generations. But you won't see many documentaries about that because there's not a story in the good that people seem to be interested in. So don't be confused. Hear me. Even if every government leader makes it their mission to shut down churches, they will never be our enemies. They are going to be our objects of love. No matter how against the church they may become, the church will not be against them. If you are watching or listening to this and you are against Jesus, Jesus will never be against you. Never. The win for us is you. Even if you never agree with us or become part of our community or believe like us, we want you to have this unexplainable realization that you just can't get us to feel about you the way you feel about us. You matter more to us than ourselves. Whatever it costs us, our win is that we loved you to the very end. If you are a Jesus follower, what if when you see a person who is a threat or an enemy of the church, Jesus sees a Saul who will become a Paul and lead the church into the future? Maybe the person you think is open, they're not part of us, but they're not against the church. They never will cross over to follow Jesus. Maybe you think they're the ones who are closest to faith, who will be the next leaders of the movement of Jesus in the future. What if those who are most hostile to the influence of Jesus were the ones who are the closest to a life-changing encounter with Him? So, if you are a Jesus follower, are you defined by what you are against more than who you are for? There are so many people around us right in this moment that are living lives of desperation. They're full of fear, of loneliness, and despair. We've had about 600,000 people die of COVID, but about 850,000 have died of drug overdoses in about that same period. Your world, your family, your school, your business, and community needs hope right now. Where will they find it? You might say Jesus, but they can't see Jesus. They can only see you. They can only see me. They can only see us, the church. We're the body of Christ. We're the proof that Jesus is here, right in the middle of this world and this moment right now. As we step into the future, New Soul Ribera will never make choices out of fear. We will make choices out of love instead. The choices we make are because we want the message of Jesus to be heard without obstacle and without barrier. Remember, nothing can stop the love of God from reaching hearts that are ready to receive it. If you've never crossed the line of faith and have never given your life to Jesus, you are why we do what we do. You matter that much to God and to us. Your life is that precious. If you are listening and you know that you want the freedom Jesus gives and his love in your life, just pray this prayer. Jesus, I give you my life. Will you give me your life? Reveal yourself to me. Amen. We'll stop there for today. Don't miss next week.
Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, and you're worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We'll live for you, Jesus. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Yeah. You're worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We'll live for you. Oh. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are, and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Jesus, the name above every other name. There's no other. Jesus, the only one who could ever save, yeah. And you're worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We'll live for you, for you. Oh God, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are, and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. So holy, and there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Would you show who you are, and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Jesus, lead us. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you, oh Lord, and I will not be shaken. Yes, I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. Oh, and I will put my trust in you, oh Lord, and I will not be shaken. Holy, there is no be shaken. Never be shaken. Everything that can't be shaken will be shaken, but the unshakable will remain. So I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you, oh Lord, and I will not be shaken. The unshakable will remain. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. All the other ground is just sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. All of the ground is just sinking sand.